Just looking at the Bitcoin charts, I mean, basically there's an easy level for everyone to follow. It's this trend line right here, which is around 19,500 to 600. And the reason that, again, is a major level, it's the last peak cycle high, right? So 2017 high, we did that full round trip back to that level. Over here, we kind of came into it. We pierced it briefly, stopping out the stops that had bought right above there, and it then floated up. Then you broke down again. So the question is, to me, there's not a question of if Bitcoin's still going to go lower or not. It is. The question I have is, does it bounce first to the upside before rolling back over and heading lower? You have a situation where this is a bear market 4-year cycle in Bitcoin, right? There's no denying that. We've been in a 4-year cycle now since 2009. And this is the first cycle for Bitcoin where you don't have Fed printing money, at this point at least. And
Right.
so to me, it doesn't make sense that the cycle would be over already with only a 70% drop versus an 80 to 85%, which is what we usually get in a bear market in Bitcoin. In fact, with the Fed lack of printing, you could even argue this could be the worst bear market we've experienced in crypto since its inception. I think right now you have a lot of people saying, oh, look, it's a bear flag. Here was a bear flag. Look what we did. Here was a big bear flag. Look what we did. And it's almost too easy. And listen, maybe it does happen, but a lot of people expecting us to break down here. I think that you might see a little bit of a pullback in the dollar. In fact, this morning we did see a pullback until that kind of nervousness over the Nord Stream European pipeline to Russia and so forth. But before that, the dollar was actually falling, which is great for risk assets. That's what we need to see Bitcoin really get a pop.
Great
So if
for
we
our
can get
ally
that-
nations too, though. It's great for our ally nations.
Yeah,
because it
correct.
doesn't put as much pressure on them as we talked about. Sorry for the interruption.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But yeah, so I'm kind of in the camp where I still think there's a chance, as long as we're holding this 19.5-ish area, we could get that little bit of a move up. Later, within a month, 2 months, we start to curl over and really see that bigger drop. And I still have a target. I mean, you might see a bounce around 17.5, but I still think we're going at minimum down to 12 to 13,000 down here. Just tons of support down here. But it makes sense that we probably are headed there. Yeah, I think, again, I think long term, this is a good move for Ethereum. I don't think in the near term, I think in the near term, you could say that the rally, I mean, Ethereum rallied from under 900 to over 2,000, right? So, I mean, that's a huge over 100% move versus what Bitcoin had, this very, very minor percentage comparative move to the upside. A lot of that upside was the merge. People getting excited, buying in, saying, oh, this is going to be a game changer. My one worry would be that once it happens and you know, that it changes the long term of Ethereum, but the fear and greed and fear right now is kind of ruling things. I would worry that there still is downside on Ethereum until crypto, until Bitcoin bottoms out, all of these things bottom out, it could still be under pressure. Now, maybe it doesn't go percentage-wise as low. Maybe it holds this low down here. We'll have to see. But I do think, you know, after the merge, I do think we'll see some sort of rollover.
So you don't think that we'll see another pump potentially for the news aspect with the Ethereum merge?
I think it's still possible. So if we see a weakening dollar, I think you could have one more move up on Ethereum to the 200 moving average right here. But once that kind of hits, my guess is we'll then see the rollover occur and it kind of starts to head back down.
But was there any other cryptocurrencies that you wanted to put any focus on?
Not really. I mean, I think Solana was looking really good earlier today. I mean, it was starting, it's holding this key support line. And again, it'll be interesting to see if it's able to get off of this line. But just like Bitcoin, it's kind of holding that big support line. Avalanche, same kind of situation there. Both of these were looking better. Now they're kind of stalling out a little bit, both in the lower ranges of the chart. But again, I think at this point, it's important to just take it very carefully. Like if you're swing trading cryptos, I think that's fine to do, like a Solana, an Avalanche, a Cardano, a Polkadot. But if you're looking longer term, stick with the best of breed with Bitcoin and Ethereum, because you just don't know which ones are going to survive the regulation, right? We know that Gary Gensler has said, you know, except for Bitcoin, most of these are securities. What does that mean? What kind of regulation are they going to have to abide by? And then will other technologies from other coins take better precedent? Will they take over as well? So for me, when I'm looking at my long-term HODL portfolio, I'm just trying to stick to the best just to be safer. But what's amazing here is look at the dollar. The dollar since the start of the year has gone up about 17%. So in a normal world, you would say to yourself, okay, well, if the dollar goes up 17%, gold should be down 17%. But instead, gold is only down like 4 or 5%. And so you've actually gained buying power by being in gold. It's very cool.
But did it have to do with the what the Fed did to take out certain indicators that would evaluate, like, you know, when they're taking out was it the M1 or M2 money supply, you know, just doing different things. And at the same time, I don't really think the government or the Federal Reserve wants the dollar at this point to be this strong. The strength of the dollar will be the death of the dollar.
Yes. Yeah, you're right about that. So there's no doubt that, and you can see the way assets react to this, right? So the Fed likes the fact that the dollar is pushing assets prices down, but at the same time, it's hurting the economy. Now, we all like the fact that the dollars we hold are worth more. It's nice like that, right? Everyone's hearing about inflation, but in reality, the dollar's actually gotten stronger relative to other currencies. But in the long term, you don't want that. In general, companies do better with a slightly weaker dollar. A lot of companies like IBM, they reported earnings not that long ago, and they lost $3 billion because of currency conversion, meaning they sold something in yen, and by the time they converted it from yen back to dollars, the dollar had spiked and they got way less dollars for that yen. And so it actually causes a lot of losses for these corporations, which then translates to lower earnings, which then translates to lower stock prices.